Some of the most familiar faces in Westeros have changed a lot during the course of Game of Thrones' run on HBO. Over the course of the series, several of the show's key actors have ended up being replaced, leading fans to wonder just what really happened. Throughout the entire series, Emilia Clarke has shined as Daenerys Targaryen. From a mild young bride to the fierce and ruthless warrior she is today, Daenerys has been through one of the show's most exciting arcs, and without Clarke's portrayal, far fewer viewers would have fallen in love with the character the way that they have. Hailed as a feminist icon, fans have been gripped by Daenerys' finest moments, and Clarke herself has achieved international recognition for the role, as well as nominations for several awards.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
With that in mind, it might seem difficult to believe that anyone else ever could have played Daenerys, but in the initially troubled pilot for Game of Thrones, Daenerys was originally played by Tamsin Merchant, best known for her role as Henry VIII's fifth wife Catherine Howard on The Tudors. Creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have been open about their disdain for the original pilot, but neither the two showrunners nor casting director Nina Gold have fully discussed the reason for Merchant's exit. Today, fans are left to wonder just how different the series might have been with a different Daenerys riding those dragons. Game of Thrones' third season introduced a new potential love interest for Daenerys in the form of Daario Naharis, played by Ed Skrein. This clever, long-haired mercenary was obviously interested in Daenerys from day one, and when he betrayed his own men to join her side, it became clear that Daario's machinations would make him an even bigger player in the seasons to come. After a 3-episode arc in the third season, however, Skrein was unceremoniously replaced by Mikhail Hausman. As it turned out, Skrein had run into a scheduling issue, as he was set to appear in the new Transporter film. The actor has since admitted that it wasn't the easiest decision, but that he had no regrets in leaving Game of Thrones. Luckily for Hausman, he quickly became yet another one of the show's beloved key players, and his romance with Daenerys left many wondering where he might end up as the show concludes. In the early seasons of Game of Thrones, viewers discovered that Cersei Lannister's 3 children, all of whom were supposedly of Baratheon blood, were actually bastards born of her incestuous affair with her twin brother, Jaime. However, nobody paid much attention to any of the children besides Joffrey, Cersei's eldest and most wicked child, who eventually ascended to the throne and wreaked a significant amount of havoc on King's Landing and Westeros as a whole. As a result, the other 2 supposed Baratheon children were often shunted to the side, making it easy for them to be recast as required, a frequent reality when dealing with young actors whose growth easily put them out of sync with the show's pacing. Because of these age issues, Tommen Baratheon was recast in the show's 4th season, and when it was time for him to take the crown from Joffrey, Callum Wary was replaced by Dean Charles Chapman. Chapman went on to handle many of the mild King Tommen's more difficult scenes, including a love scene with his new wife, Margaery Tyrell, as well as his death at the end of the 6th season. However, many fans might have recognized Chapman's face from somewhere, since he had actually appeared in the show's 3rd season, playing a young Lannister squire who was held hostage by the Starks and eventually killed by Rickard Karstark. This actually gives Chapman a rare distinction of having played 2 separate roles during the show's run, and having died twice, too. Much like Tommen, Cersei Lannister's middle child, Myrcella, went largely overlooked until later seasons of Thrones. Myrcella was essentially left out of the plot entirely until the 2nd season, when her uncle Tyrion decided to send her to Dorne, creating a permanent rift between Tyrion and Cersei. In the 5th season, she reappeared as a love-struck teenager engaged to Trystane Martell, the young prince of Dorne. Thanks to an ongoing battle between the Lannister and Martell families, she ended up murdered at the hands of Ellaria Sand shortly after she discovered her true parentage. Though Myrcella was played by the young actress Amy Richardson during her appearances in the early seasons, when she returned, she was played by the dynamic Nell Tiger Free. Much like Tommen's strategic recasting, this can likely be chalked up to discrepancies between the growth of the actor and her character. As the older of the much-feared Clegane brothers, the Mountain is one of Westeros' most terrifying warriors. And although he has kinda managed to make it through the entire series so far, he has nonetheless undergone a significant transformation along the way. Once a formidable fighter known for his penchant for committing war crimes on behalf of the Lannisters, the Mountain was nearly felled by a poisoned spear tip during his duel with Oberyn Martell in Season 4. After that, however, he was turned into a kind of mute zombie, loyal only to Cersei herself. But that wasn't the only transformation that the Mountain has undergone during Game of Thrones' run, as he's actually been played by no fewer than 3 separate actors. In Season 1, when the Mountain nearly killed Loras Tyrell after a joust, he was played by Conan Stevens, an Australian actor. The Mountain was far less visible in Season 2, but when he did appear, he was played by the Welsh actor Ian White. From the 4th season on, the fearsome and intimidating Icelandic strongman Hafthor Ulis Bjornsson has portrayed the Mountain. Of course, now that he's ensconced in an iron mask, it doesn't seem to matter much that this massive man has changed faces 3 times. The Tarly family isn't exactly the most important clan in Westeros, but astute viewers will have gotten to know them pretty well over the years. By far the most significant member of the family is Samwell Tarly, the lovable bookworm of the Night's Watch and frequent companion to Jon Snow. Sam has proven to be the heart and soul of the show time and time again, but he's not so popular among his own family. In the 6th season, when Sam arrived at Horn Hill with his girlfriend, Gilly, he received a cold welcome from his stern father, Randall, who clearly favors Sam's handsome and accomplished brother, Dickon.
Not fat enough already.
During Season 6, Freddie Stroma of Harry Potter fame appeared as Dickon. However, scheduling issues forced him out of the show, so Black Sails' Tom Hopper stepped in. To plenty of acclaim from fans. Sadly, Hopper's time as Dickon has also been cut short, as both he and his father Randall were burned alive by Daenerys when they refused to bend the knee to her in Season 7. Easy come, easy go. Most viewers of the show will be familiar with Stannis Baratheon, who, as King Robert Baratheon's brother, staunchly believed he was the rightful heir to the Iron Throne, but some might not remember his wife, Selyse Baratheon. While Stannis fought for the throne with the aid of Melisandre, Selyse remained nothing if not loyal. After all, she stuck by her husband through several unsuccessful battles, as well as his obvious attraction to Melisandre herself. When Stannis used their daughter, Shireen, as a human sacrifice, Selyse finally took her own life, only for Stannis to meet his final defeat in battle a few hours later. Selyse, when she was introduced, was a very minor character who can be spotted simply standing in the vicinity of Melisandre and Stannis, while the latter commits himself to the Lord of Light during a magical ceremony in the 2nd season's premiere. At that time, she was played by Sarah McKeever, had no lines at all, and served as little more than a glorified extra. However, when Selyse's role was expanded to include a multi-episode arc, the show chose a more venerated actress for the role, Tara Fitzgerald, who famously appeared opposite Ralph Fiennes in Hamlet on Broadway during the mid-1990s. Game of Thrones' first episode ended on a pretty shocking final scene. Specifically, the young Bran Stark being pushed out of a tall tower after catching Jaime and Cersei in a compromising position. Bran survived the fall, however, losing his mobility and eventually gaining a new set of powers, including the ability to review and even meddle in events of the very distant past, making him the heir apparent to the role of the Three-Eyed Raven. When the audience finally met the mysterious Three-Eyed Raven in Season 4, he looked fairly different to the character fans would later come to know. Originally played by Struan Roger, Bran first meets the Raven while the omniscient being is holed up in a secluded tree. By the time the Three-Eyed Raven returned to the show in its 6th season, Roger had been replaced by legendary actor Max von Sydow, best known for The Exorcist and Flash Gordon. Since then, it has been von Sydow's Raven who has guided Bran through the secrets of the past, present, and future of Westeros. Game of Thrones is rife with villains and antagonists, but few are more sinister or more mysterious than the Night King, the ancient and seemingly infallible leader of the White Walkers. The Walkers, who reside far north of a wall that separates Westeros from the northern wilderness, were previously considered nothing more than a frightening legend, but have recently made their presence known in Westeros in a pretty spectacular way. Throughout the show's run, audiences have watched the Night King perform a range of despicable acts, from turning a child's sacrifice into a White Walker to taking down one of Daenerys' beloved dragons. Though the character comes to life via impressive prosthetic makeup, as the show went on, sharp-eyed viewers realized that the Night King looked a little different from when we first met him. Before Season 6, the Night King was played by Richard Blake, but the role then went to Vladimir Furdik, an actor hailing from Slovakia. Though the show's creators have never provided a concrete reason for the change, it's possible that Furdik won the role thanks to his history as a stuntman, giving him more mobility for battle scenes. Throughout Thrones' run, Beric Dondarrion has quite literally lived several lives. In Season 1, he served as nothing more than a member of a search party sent by Ned Stark to bring the Mountain to justice. As war broke out in Westeros, however, he joined a group called the Brotherhood Without Banners, who, through their loyalty to the Lord of Light, have followed Beric as he is constantly revived from the dead by his resident Red Priest, Thoros of Myr. Most recently, Beric has been found aiding Jon Snow in his fight against the White Walkers, traveling north of the Wall in order to get more information on these mysterious and ancient creatures. David Michael Scott portrayed Beric for his minor role during the first season. Beginning in Season 3, however, Irish actor Richard Dormer took the reins. Luckily, Beric's change in appearance is easy enough to explain in-universe, considering the man died multiple times off-screen before viewers met him for the second time again. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about Game of Thrones are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.